What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Colorado Springs, what it's like to move there, the pros and cons, and then also more from a real perspective. A lot of the real estate agents, they're just trying to sell you on a place to live so they can make money. They sell you a house, put money in their pocket, and they don't really care, for you to hear the downsides of different types of cities. So let's get into it. All right, so the cost of living. For a one-bedroom apartment, you're gonna pay somewhere about $1,200 to $1,250 just for an average apartment. You're not gonna be like in the ghetto, but you're not gonna be in a really good neighborhood. Obviously, those go up and those go down, but that's about the average. It is gonna be higher than the national average. And the funny thing is, like, the cost of living, it seems like it's too high for being in Colorado Springs, especially for, you paying rent prices or you buying a house out there, because there's really not much to do when it comes to like shopping, or when it comes to there's no pro sports teams, there's no cultural activities like really nice museums, or any like big draw to the city. I think the biggest thing that you're paying for is just being next to the mountains, which it is like a gorgeous landscape. Every time you drive to work, you're like, oh, it's beautiful, but when it comes to the city, it's not really grown enough to have those type of prices. So food is going to be just a little bit more than the national average as well. I see things vary from grocery store to grocery store, but for the most part, it's just going to be like 10%, maybe 15% more than you're used to paying. Let's hop into the next segment. All right, so let's talk about the people. So the people they're pretty nice, they're easygoing. A lot of them are transplants from either Texas or California. And I gotta talk about one thing about the people is there's so much mental illness out there that I don't understand what's going on. I swear to God, it's like 1 in every 3rd person has something massively wrong with the way that like their brain works. It's either they're super depressed or they're super overly aggressive, and they don't know how to deal with like a lot of social situations. And so you're gonna find a lot of people that are hermits, and they're very like, I gotta control everything around me type of like situation. And it's strange, it's almost like there's something in the water or something's going on. And the funny thing was, is when I was moving there, I heard a lot of stories about this, and I was like, maybe these people just have weird experiences. But hearing all those experiences from other people where they rented from really bad people or like really strange people. One girl said that, her landlord used to keep jars of urine in glasses above the washer and dryer. And I was like, that's weird, but then I heard other like weird stories like that too. So I don't know what the nature of like why there's so much mental illness going on in and around Colorado Springs, but it is out there. So you really have to watch out for who you're renting from and make sure that you're not seeing red flags like right out the gate. There is a lot of crime that happens in South Colorado Springs. There's a lot of like break-ins, there's a lot of like just dumb crime, and it's not like there's like tons of murders or like any super violent crimes, but there's a lot of just really just like theft and small crimes that happen all the time. I don't know why that is. It just seems kind of odd to me that this is going on in a city where it seems like it'd be a richer city. It seems like, well, they call it the city of millionaires, and all this crime's happening. Like, I don't understand that quite well, but it is what it is. All right, so the jobs out here. There's a lot of construction jobs, a lot of new subdivisions going in. During the spring and summer, there's a lot of tourist activity. So there's a good amount of restaurants, and there's a lot to do when it comes to like nature and stuff like that. There is some decent medical jobs out there. There's some good banking jobs out there. But a lot of people don't notice, especially if you're in the restaurant industry, that Colorado Springs is very, very seasonal, all right? To the point where it gets rough and it's kind of hard to make money. If you're in the restaurant industry, they do have, I think, a minimum wage of like $9.50 or $10 an hour, which is like, holy crap, that helps out a lot. But a lot of people out there that live like the locals in Colorado Springs, they tip like crap. It's all tourist money that you're going to be making during the spring and summer, which is going to let you survive over the winter. So definitely, if you're in the restaurant industry, you want to be more toward the North Colorado Springs area. They're going to have a couple malls out there with restaurants that are more steady during the, you know, slow period as well. But for the most part, jobs, they're good to an extent. It's not going to be like a major city where you're like, wow, you know, I can get any job I want out here. Like I said, it's just very seasonal, and during the summer, the tourists come in and the economy booms. So you just save all that money until the winter hits, and then you should be good to go on that. All right, so the weather in Colorado Springs, it's gorgeous during the spring and summer. I'm talking, it's like the perfect temperature. It stays between like 68 and like 78, you know, almost the whole spring and summer. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. But then the winter hits, and this is the time where you're going to understand if you like this city or if you hate this city. So when it snows in Colorado Springs, it snows for like a solid 5.5, almost 6 months. And it's cold. It gets down to like, you know, 10 to maybe 18 degrees is kind of where it just hovers around for most of that time. It'll get even lower than that, below zero and all that some days. But for the most part, it's going to have snow on the ground. The trucks that clean up the snow are not frequent either. They do a really terrible job at getting the side streets. I ended up getting into an accident with my truck, and I was only going like 7 miles per hour, but there was so much ice and snow on the road that I slid into a curb, and I racked up like $1,500 in damage. And it's all because the city is not doing what they're supposed to be doing and getting all the side streets plowed and, you know, making sure everything's safe for people. I feel like the city doesn't have a big budget for much of anything. And you don't see a lot of cops around. So in southern Colorado Springs, there's a lot of crime that happens, a lot of mischief crime, you know, nothing usually too crazy, but it's annoying because they should have more police running around and at least doing the bare minimum of what they're supposed to be doing. But yeah, during the winter, it's not fun. It's cold. It's just one of those, like, you know, not fun times a year where you can't do anything outdoors because you don't want to be running on ice. You don't want to be running on, like, you know, packed snow. It's really just not enjoyable to be there during the winter. And a lot of, you know, Instagrammers and vloggers, they try to say, oh, this is the best thing, white Christmas, blah, 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 you know, but it's dangerous to like roll your truck or your car around because it's such a hilly city that you really need to be careful on what you're doing. It's not like you can just go about your day. Just getting to and from your house and to work is sometimes really dangerous. So you got to make sure that, you know, you're ready for that, you know. I would definitely advise having a 4x4 or, you know, something with really good snow tires for the winter, because it'll scare the shit out of you when you're just sliding down a hill and you just have, you know, all this bad things that could happen to you. So winter sucks out there and it's not fun, and it really just steals like a lot of your life. So it is what it is, you know, take it for what it is. If you can deal with that, if you're coming from like Alaska, or if you're coming from like, you know, Wisconsin or Chicago, you know, it might not be wholly bad, terrible, you know, but it's still going to be pretty crappy because I know up north they at least plow really well. So take it for what it is, you know, that's the weather out there. All right, so the nature. There's really not a lot of like very wild naturey places in Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs is in the foot of the mountains. It's like right in the base of the mountains, so it's not actually in nature. It's pretty close, you know, a 15-20 minute drive, and then you're into like Manitou, or like you got Green Mountain Falls, which is a really cool place to go to. So don't think that it's like, oh, I'm gonna walk out of my door and then boom, I'm gonna have all these like amazing like animals all around me. It's not as naturesque as I thought it was gonna be. And another thing is when you're working out and you're doing activities in nature, jogging and stuff like that, it's gonna be 10 times harder because the altitude's so high up there. And it really, God, it takes a toll on you. If you're a mountain biker and you kick ass, you know, during like sea level, when you get up in the mountains, you will almost die. You'll have massive headaches. You'll feel super dehydrated because altitude sickness out there is super real. So you want to make sure that you're prepared for that and you know what you're getting into. When you start your activities, you want to really slowly get into them. Even just bodybuilding, working out, going to the gym, you're going to notice, oh my God, I can't breathe. Like, what's going on here, you know? And you're going to have massive headaches when you wake up in the morning. And it's all because of altitude sickness. It takes, I think, like 3 to 6 months for you to actually get used to that. And then even then, it's still really tough on your body because there's not a lot of oxygen out there. But most of the activities are going to be on the outskirts of Colorado Springs. So just be prepared to drive like 25 minutes, you know, before you're actually into a place where you have really nice hiking in better nature scenarios. That and there was one more thing that I want to talk about. Oh, the fishing. If you're a fisherman, Colorado Springs is awful. It's completely awful. Even if you go outside to like Decker Lake or Decker River, Decker area, it's going to be terrible fishing because it's overfished. Everybody goes to Colorado Springs thinking that it's going to be like this outdoor haven, you know, and it really isn't. It's all like stock trout everywhere, and it's just terrible fishing. It's not natural like you would think it would be natural, you know? So if you want to go fishing, you go to the Arkansas River, which is south of Colorado Springs by maybe an hour. So there are places around there, you know, it's not as naturey as you think. If you're coming, you know, if you're thinking about Denver or Colorado Springs because of the nature aspect, don't, because Denver is just as naturey as Colorado Springs, so. All right, so we're going to talk about shopping. You have basically 4 places that you can shop. One is going to be the Broadmoor area where they have a lot of really nice restaurants, and they have a small kind of like ritzy shopping area because they have the Broadmoor Hotel, which is really gorgeous, like one of the most beautiful hotels that you're going to see. And I guess like presidents stay there, and it's on like a really nice golf course, but that's a very small area. And everything's super overpriced, and I don't know, it's just more of like, oh, I'm gonna experience that once, spend a lot of money and be like, no, I'm probably not gonna go there again, you know? Colorado Springs basically has 3 malls. It has one ghetto mall, which is the Citadel Mall. That's like the mall that everybody forgot. It might have been like big in like the 80s, but it's kind of like crap now, with real, you know, hokey stores that just are just junk stores, you know? And then you have the Chapel Hills Mall, which is kind of like your everyday mall. Nothing special. It's just your average mall with like Dillard's and, you know, Bell's and I think Macy's. Really nothing to like brag about. It's just, you know, an okay mall at best. And then you have your the Promenade shops at Briargate. And those are going to be more of like the ritzy shops. You're going to have Express. You're going to have like some nicer restaurants out there. But again, the shopping is just going to be meh, you know, at best. It's not going to be great. It's going to be kind of, you can get what you need, but more than likely you're going to overpay for it. And, you know, it's just very lackluster. You know, I wish if they had better shopping. You're going to have to go to Denver to get way better shops out there. So that's what that is. All right, so now we're going to go over the cons and the pros of living in Colorado Springs. So one of the cons is crime is bad in Southern Colorado. A lot of mischief, not a lot of crazy like, you know, stabbings or murders or anything like that. Just a lot of just dumb crime, you know, thefts and people wrecking, you know, people's houses and just a lot of dumb shit, you know. So it is what it is. The rent is high here. You know, it just is for not having the amenities of a, you know, a medium size or a decent city. The mechanics here are awful. They charge like, I think it's like 50% more than they should be charging. And a couple bad mechanics shops out here is Adam & Sons. Bad place to go to, don't go there. Napa Auto Repair, another horrible place. These are places that'll just like rip you off and smile while doing it and know that you can't do anything about it. So let's see here, the fishing is bad. You definitely got to go down south to do fishing. Probably about an hour away to the Arkansas River. A lot of people dress like crap out here, man. They're just, I don't know, like a lot of flannels, a lot of boring stuff. Like women don't really dress up in nice dresses or anything like that. If you see that, it's just these Instagrammers that are like rolling through town that want to act like the city's like way cuter than it is. There's really not much culture out here at all. There's no live music, there's no theater. The museums are just very not interesting, you know, nothing special, nothing kind of cool. Let's see here. The dryness will leave your lips chapped for 5 months straight, no matter how much chapstick you put on your lips. It's insane. The weather is, to me, it's terrible. It's like cold half the year, like 10 to 20 degrees. So yeah, that's basically the cons. If you can live with that, that'd be great. So here are the pros. The pros are you're not far from Denver and are relatively close to ski resorts for winter fun. There's no bugs in Colorado Springs, believe it or not. Like, you're never gonna get, you know, many mosquito bites. You're never really gonna see cockroaches anywhere. It's such a crazy thing, like, to not see any bugs. I think a lot of it has to do with it's really dry out there. Let's see here. There's hardly any cops. I've seen like maybe a dozen cops in a year that I was in Colorado Springs. So their budget, they must have just really had a low budget or something, because there's like no cops out there, which is a good and a bad thing, you know. So crime is running rampant, but yet you don't have to deal with cops, you know, pulling you over or like watching them in the rear view. Let's see here. There's not many homeless people, which is kind of nice. I'm coming from Austin, Texas, where it was just all homeless people everywhere. I think it's just too cold for homeless people. There's fun hiking trails with great views, you know, close to Colorado Springs. So Manitou's kind of a cool place, and Green Mountain Falls is a really cool place. So the billiard scene is really good out in Colorado Springs. A lot of really cool pool halls and a lot of really nice people. You know, that's where I spent most of my time, is just shooting pool out there. Garden of the Gods is beautiful. Let's see here. They have a Rudy's Barbecue, which, if you know anything about Rudy's, oh my God, it's the best barbecue place in Austin, Texas. And they have one out in Colorado Springs. They have a Torchy's Taco out there, so good as well. And they have a Fuzzy's Tacos as well out there, so that's a really kind of cool place. Yeah, so that's the pros and cons. All right, so my ending thoughts, my conclusion is, honestly, I'll never live there again. There's just really nothing going on out there. There's no culture, there's no live music. The nature, you know, the fishing is just horrifically bad out there. There's so much mental illness that it just doesn't really make sense to stay in an area like that. I feel like it really just, it'll drag you down, you know, if you're a very high energy, like, type of person. The people are really nice. It's just they don't have any passions. They don't have any like drive. There's no like, oh, I want to get up and I want to create something. I want to do something. You know, there's virtually none of that out there. You know, a lot of it's just the real estate vloggers that are saying, oh, this is such a great city. I'll totally live here. You know, blah blah blah. Spend $500,000. You will cry if you spend like $500,000 on a house, and then you realize how boring it is. You know, and how much cold weather will dictate what you can do and what you can't do, you know, for the most part. I think Denver, you would really have like a richer experience out there. I feel like the city is actually trying, like they actually have more amenities where people can get out and have a really good time and meet, you know, more people. I could be 100% wrong because I never lived in Denver, but these are the things that I heard, that there's just so much more out there, you know. So if you're thinking about Colorado Springs or Denver, I'd definitely choose Denver. Just know that Denver is going to have a lot of the bad things about Colorado Springs too. I heard mental illness is really bad out there as well. The food, the cost of living is going to be higher out there, and the seasons are just going to be really short, except for winter. Winter is going to be really long. So it is what it is, you know. I hope you liked the video. I try to put out these honest videos so you guys have an understanding of cities and give you a real perspective, you know, not an Instagrammer's, you know, dream vlog or like this or that, you know, just real things that I've seen that you guys are not going to hear about from real estate agents, because they don't want to tell you these things, because then you wouldn't move there, you know. So if you guys have any questions, put them in the comment box below and we can go from there. All right, thanks guys. You have a great day. Bye.